I'd also like to welcome the Minister to the House. The Coford All-Ireland Roundwood Production Forecast 2011 to 2028 illustrates the increasing production potential from Irish forests, which will almost double to 7 million cubic metres from the current 3.79 million. The harvest from private forests is forecast to increase tenfold within this timeframe, and it's therefore right and proper that the Minister and the State should ensure that the conditions are right to promote and properly regulate the forestry industry. However, the response to the bill from some within the private sector has been less than welcoming, and there are several issues upon which I would welcome the Minister's views. Irish forests are amongst the healthiest in Europe. We have comparatively little in the way of forest pests and diseases. However, we import vast quantities of firewood in the form of logs, along with pellets, pressed sawdust and other sawmill byproducts from the European countries and further afield, which can be subject to infestation and disease not seen here. Disease and infestation would have huge implications for the forestry industry here. This could be addressed by increasing our own production and becoming more self-reliant. In that regard, there is no specific objectives in terms of reducing our imports, and we all know that targets concentrate the mind. There are reports available, like the one I've mentioned, indicating that we can increase production drastically, and the Minister might consider my constructive suggestions in that regard. Secondly, I would compliment the Minister on amending the period for which a felling licence can be issued, a period of up to 10 years and the potential of a further 5 years. The point was made previously that the current felling licence regime is prone to delay, and I welcome the removal of both the dual licence process and the involvement of the Gardaí in the process. I compliment the Minister and his officials to committing to legislation to grant a licence within 4 months. However, I see in section 18.2 that one of the reasons stipulated for delaying the issuance of a felling licence could be due to the number of applications submitted to the Minister. And could I make a constructive suggestion that serious consideration should be given to amending that particular section, as it seems to raise a concern about potential licensing inefficiency? Can the Minister assure the House that he will commit sufficient resources to the Forestry Service so as to ensure that present delays are eliminated and that future ones will not occur? There are industry suggestions that the Service does not have sufficient resources as it stands, and I would welcome the Minister's views on that. Another issue is the onus on private foresters to destroy vegetation or vermin. And while I see the total logic, for example, the associated fire risks, the issue of vermin eradication is far more complicated, and it's not what you would call easy or cheap. Potentially considerable time and monies could have to be dedicated by the forester to this matter. In relation to section 15.1, where the Minister directs that certain specific steps be taken to prevent such damage within such time as the Minister may specify, I would be interested to know what exactly is envisaged here. I would have a concern that these steps would be either prohibitively expensive or time-consuming. Privately owned forests account for nearly half of our forest cover and are mainly owned by farmers. My main point is that farmers particularly are subject to the most rigorous inspection regimes already in terms of their day-to-day operations. The industry has a concern that this legislation would needlessly add to that burden, and I hope the Minister will be able to allay their fears. The provision of an appeals mechanism is to be welcomed. No administrative action should be above review, and the appeal structure will create confidence in the new system. And finally, I would like to welcome the bill and suggest that the Minister and his officials would look again at the issues I've raised with a view to making the warranted licensing regime and ancillary matters less onerous if possible.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator Naughton.